Good morning, everyone. I have to say a big thank you to our Western Australia brothers and sisters. That was beautiful this morning. Thank you for gifting your prayer to us this morning to kick us off. It is so lovely to be here with you, and as a Gomeroi woman, I am very excited and honoured to be back on Wonnarua country, and I'd like to acknowledge the elders, both past and present, of this country. But I'd also like to acknowledge the elders who are present in the room with us from wherever you have travelled. I am most grateful to be with you in this time and in this place and to continue to learn from you and your communities. I really do thank my old people that I have the privilege to be where I am today on this stage, sharing a few words, hopefully of wisdom, with you all at this NATSICC conference. So I've been asked to share a little bit about an Aboriginal perspective on this year's theme of Pilgrims of Hope. So I have to be clear from the beginning that I can only share from my perspective. I'm talking to the converted in the room here. We know we are a diverse people. So this will be a little bit of my story, my journey, and a little bit of my thinking. So I don't speak for everybody, even though I might say the term we along the way. I mean me, but I mean we, but I mean we. All right, so when I first heard of this theme announced by Pope Francis, Pilgrims of Hope, I was really challenged by it. And in trying to talk about it, the only way I could think to explain it was to break it down across my talk. So over the next little while, I'm going to talk a little bit about pilgrimage, a little bit about that word hope, and then hopefully, like a good comedian or Billy Connolly, who I aspire to be like one day, bring it all together in the theme of Pilgrims of Hope towards the end. I have been fascinated with pilgrimages, and I have had the opportunity to be a pilgrim many times before. Once, in my youthful years, I got to attend World Youth Day in Rio, which was a fantastic pilgrimage to take with a group of teachers from the diocese in which I was working in. And I also had the pleasure many moons ago to participate in a pilgrimage with Catholic Mission. So shout out to Catholic Mission. I said I was going to do that today. Over to Western Australia, to Beagle Bay and Lombardina communities. And that was life-changing. And my husband and I actually really share a dream to walk the full Camino. One day we'll get there. But we are fascinated when we hear people's stories of their walks. We sit down, we go to dinner, we have drinks. We want to know what it is that makes a pilgrim. And in the simplest form, I think a pilgrim is someone on a sacred journey, seeking and searching and allowing the journey itself to transform them as a person, them as a team, them as a group of educators. But I do believe it is more than just reaching a destination. Now, there is a gentleman in the room who put me onto a book many years ago. And the book is called The Art of Pilgrimage. And John O'Goonan, I'm pretty sure we ascertained last night that this was you, about, I won't say how many years ago, because we were both very youthful back then. And he suggested I read this book. It actually tells the steps that a pilgrim takes along the way. It has a few steps to go through. The first one is the longing, that desire, the call to really listen and take action, the departure, to walk the pilgrim way, to enter the labyrinth, and then to arrive. Each stage has its own grace and its own challenge. And if you think about it, I think it has been said many times so far, every single one of us in this room has participated in these stages to be at this gathering. You have longed to be a part of this gathering. You have felt the call to come. You have departed from your home and you have travelled the pilgrim way. You have found your way through the labyrinth of airports and highways and trains, and you have arrived. So whether you come from 5 minutes down the road or from across the country, we are pilgrims here because our journey has meaning and purpose. In the Catholic tradition, I understand that pilgrimage is a sacred journey, travelling from one place to another with prayer and reflection and purpose. The idea that pilgrimage can carry another layer of meaning is really important because it's not just only about walking the road, but it's about walking in truth, and truth with our church, with our Christ, and with each other. So when I think about pilgrimage from an Aboriginal perspective, next slide. There we go, thank you. I think about the long journeys that our people have taken and that they continue to take. Journeys of justice and journeys of recognition and journeys of survival. We are pilgrims because we are constantly walking towards truth, carrying with us the memory of our old people and the hope of our young ones. And I want to share 2 examples of pilgrim people who are in the room today as well. One of them has been a pilgrim with me since I was born, and that's my mum. Hi, Mum. I am especially blessed to have my mum here with me today. Mum is my first teacher of spirituality, of faith, and of God. She was the one who had the foresight to enrol me in a Catholic school in our small regional town, and I know that she would go to the ends of the earth for me, and I remain grateful to her each and every day. And I'm not going to get teary. But I do remember Mum when I was about 8 or 9 years old, and I came home and was absolutely nagging you to let me become a Catholic so I could participate fully in the sacraments of the church. And I think it was the next day we were down at the church and I was being converted from Anglican to Catholic with the oils, and we were done, and I got to wear the dress and the veil, and I received the First Communion, and it was the most glorious thing of my life. So thank you, Mum. She always said to me, "Oh, you'll either be on a stage or you're going to enter a religious life." And I think, well, I probably took a little bit of both parts, didn't I, Mum? I went and became a Catholic educator, so I think that's a little bit of both. But I don't think Mum ever thought she would imagine or be here to see her little girl standing at a conference speaking about her own pilgrim journey and for you to witness it. So it's a gift I'll treasure forever. So thank you for being here this week, Mum. There is another special lady in my life who's in this room too, and I want to acknowledge her presence. And it's one of our NATSICC Elders of the Year, Auntie Mary Atkinson, sitting just down here. Auntie Mary's life is a profound example of what it means to be a pilgrim. She has walked tirelessly for Aboriginal rights, justice and recognition in our people's stories and communities. Her and my mum's journey has not been easy. They've faced resistance, loss, indifference, and the weight of historical injustice. Yet both of them continue to walk, they continue to speak, they continue to act, they bring our communities together, they hold truth at the centre of their work, and they guide younger generations in the footsteps of resilience. And just to shame them a little bit more, they were both at a NAIDOC event last week and they shot me a photo. And they're probably never going to share a photo with me again because I put them up on the big screen. But these 2 special women are profound examples of real day, real live action pilgrims. So from the perspective a pilgrimage is not just about that physical destination, it's about the path itself and what we carry along it. Walking with Mum and Auntie Mary, learning from their example, it really is a sacred journey. And for me, every step taken in truth and love is pilgrimage. It's the act of making the ground holy by how we walk upon it with courage, honesty, and hope. I want to turn now to that word hope, because I have really struggled in my life with this word hope, because it really is a strange word. We throw it around really easily. Oh, I hope you're well. I hope you had a good sleep. I hope your meal was nice. And I hope to see you soon. And sometimes it can feel like the things that we just say when we don't know what else to say. At times, it can feel a bit hollow and a little bit like background noise. But when life starts to get heavy and when things feel uncertain or painful, hope starts to mean something else, something harder and something deeper. Now, I mentioned I struggled with the word hope, not because I don't want it, because I know that it's just not enough to hope. Saying the word isn't the same as living it. Real hope takes effort. It asks something of us. It's not sitting back and wishing for a better day. It's showing up and doing what we can to make it happen. Hope without action, to me, is just a nice idea. And sometimes people say, we just have to keep hoping. And I really have to ask, but what are we doing with that hope? Because hope isn't meant to keep us still. It's meant to keep us moving forward. So in a world that can feel hopelessness, where our people are rejected, discriminated against, or pass through life unseen or unsupported, hope must be a choice. And I really do stay hopeful by returning to truth, and to country, to my family. And I see hope in the resistance of our old people. And I see it in the fire of our young ones. And I see it in the passion of our students. And in every quiet act of resistance and care. And I stay hopeful because the church, at its best, calls us to love the margins, to see the unseen, and to honour every human life. Hope is also something we carry together. It connects us across time, through our families and our communities and our histories. The people who came before us hoped too. Not in the soft or easy way, but in a fierce and stubborn way. They hoped through struggle and through survival, and that's the kind of blood that runs through, the kind of hope that runs through my blood. It's something we inherit and we pass on. And maybe that's the most powerful thing about hope. It just keeps going. It stretches across generations. What my parents hoped for, what they worked for, I now carry forward. What I hope for today in justice and safety and healing for our communities, I want that for our young ones who come after me too. Hope becomes that thread that weaves us all together. And more than that, I actually think hope can be a kind of rebellion and a revolution, a spiritual one. In a world that often tells us to give up, to accept things as they are, choosing hope is a way of saying, no thank you. It's a quiet fight. The belief that things can change, that we can change them. Hope becomes something sacred when it drives us to act, to love, to protect, and to keep going even when it's hard. And Pope Francis, in his letter for the promotion of the Jubilee year, said, we must fan the flame of hope that has been given to us to help everyone gain new strength, and certainly by looking to the future with open spirit, a trusting heart and far-sighted vision. The forthcoming Jubilee can greatly contribute to restoring a climate of hope and trust as a prelude to the renewal and rebirth we so urgently desire. And that's why he chose the motto for this Jubilee year as Pilgrims of Hope. He said, this will indeed be the case if we are capable of recovering a sense of universal fraternity and refuse to turn a blind eye to the tragedy of rampant poverty that prevents millions of men and women and young children living in a manner worthy of our human dignity. How exciting. We were pumped. I have to give a shout out to Lisa Buxton at Sydney ACM. Why don't you just put her head down right there in the middle? Lisa and I were like high-fiving each other. This is great. We're going to be pilgrims of hope. Let's do a pilgrimage to Rome this year. This is the year we could set the ACM up and take that pilgrimage and have our friends join us. So we were very excited when we saw the release of all of the opportunities to engage in pilgrimage, the themes across the Jubilee year. Pope Francis opened the holy door at St. Peter's Basilica on Christmas Eve and announced, here are all the things that we're going to celebrate across the Jubilee year in our church. I'll let you read them, but I'll say some of them. The World Communications, Armed Forces, Police and Security, World Volunteering, Sick and World Health, Teenagers, Workers, Entrepreneurials, Ecclesial Movements, Governments, Missionaries and Catholic Influences, Marian Spirituality, World of Education, and Choirs. Do you notice anything? There is something missing here. The World Indigenous Peoples in this celebration of the Jubilee year does not feature. Are we not pilgrims of hope? Are people on the margins of this church, even after significant acknowledgement of Indigenous peoples by Pope Francis in both Canada and the Amazon during his pontificate? But perhaps we're just needing to be hopeful that the next Jubilee year may have a place for the World Indigenous Peoples. Or we can hold a gathering like this and we can share our hopefulness for our communities as a part of our church, its peoples, and take small actions about bringing around a quiet spiritual revolution. And there are so many examples in our faith of spiritual revolutions. St. Francis of Assisi stands as a profound example. He was born into affluence. He experienced radical conversion. He renounced worldly possessions to embrace a life of poverty and humility. His commitment to living the gospel authentically ignited a spiritual revolution, inspiring the formation of the Franciscan order and revitalising the church during a time of moral and institutional challenges. And amidst all of that turmoil of his era, St. Francis embodied unwavering hope, trusting in God's providence and the transformative power of faith. His life serves as a testament to the enduring strength that hope can overcome adversity. More locally, our wonderful St. Mary of the Cross MacKillop, the co-founder of the Sisters of St. Joseph's, sparked a spiritual revolution in Australia by dedicating her life to serving those most excluded, especially the poor, rural and forgotten communities, through education, compassion and faith-driven action. Today, the sisters continue that mission with profound commitment, and I know there are lots of religious in the room, and I've only used 2 examples, and I will share the Sisters of St. Joseph because ACU actually is neighbours in North Sydney, right next door to St. Mary MacKillop Place, so it holds a special piece of my heart. In the past year, the sisters have recommitted their letter of apology to Aboriginal people that was written over 20 years ago, which was well before the time of any other apology. And in 2025, they also made the commitment to truth-telling to continue the work with Aboriginal people. Their ongoing presence is a living legacy of hope, bridging past injustices with loving accompaniment, empowering communities through dignity and justice, offering faith and healing and solidarity. So hope and Aboriginal people in the church is a spiritual revolution I think that is worth waiting for. A deep, sacred reconciliation of spirit and story and land. To have true expression of Aboriginal culture in the church today is not about quick fixes or empty gestures, and we're going to hear about one very shortly. But it is about truth-telling and listening and healing and walking together. It's the long, slow turning of the hearts towards justice, dignity and deep, deep cultural respect. It is the recognition that God has been with Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples from the very beginning. that their stories and spirituality are not outside the church, but a vital part of its future. So hope is not naive, it is fierce. It is knowing that the world is not as it should be and still choosing to show up and speak out and keep going. And that's a hope-filled revolution, I think, that it is worth waiting for. So you'll probably hear me say to you, I hope you're well, but I'll keep working, and I promise you I'll keep working for something better. I'll keep listening and speaking up and standing with others, because real hope isn't just a feeling, it's something that we do. Now, being pilgrims of hope is not knowing the destination, but it is about walking the path and letting the meaning reveal itself. And now, slide behind. Okay, just leave it there for a second. I think this is my video coming up next, am I right? Yes, or 2 more slides. Oh. Next slide, please, Mr. Driver. There we go. I wanted to share with you a recent video that I had. Video, it sounds so old. A streamed service of Netflix. As I said before, I was fascinated with pilgrimages, and there is this wonderful movie written by an Australian man, and it's called The Way, My Way. Now, I don't know if you've seen it. If you haven't, I'm pretty sure it'll be on your agenda tonight. But I wanted to share it with you because the main character goes on a holiday. He sees pilgrims. He doesn't really understand it, but he comes back and he's like, I need to be a pilgrim. He has some flaws. His wife thinks he has some flaws, but he understood his call to be a pilgrim, and his wife is supporting him on the journey. As she's a bit frustrated with him, and she wants to support him to do something better, to understand himself, to seek that transformation so he understands his impact on others. And I want to show you a small part of the film because there is one line I want you to listen for that I think sums up being pilgrims of hope. And let's see if I can click it through.
It all started on that holiday in Spain.
They're pilgrims.
Pilgrims?
Hey,
Go to left, mate.
no, I'm in training.
Training?
Yeah, I'm going to walk the Camino de Santiago. It's an 800-kilometre pilgrim's walk in Spain.
I am hoping that after this Camino, I won't have to apologise for you anymore.
Are you Bill? Yeah, I'm Balazs. Oh, nice to meet you. Here comes Leslie, yeah.
Hi. Oh, no, don't hug.
I'm Rosa.
Rosa.
Home for the night?
Did I have a turn-down service?
That's a joke. Do you sleep well?
No, there was someone snoring. Farting.
That's disgusting.
Ce n'est pas la bonne route.
Ah, bonjour, madame. Bonjour, monsieur. I don't know why I'm doing this walk. I want to let the walk give me the answer.
Hope you find what you're looking for somewhere along the way.
Okay, I'm going to stop it there because I can tell you're all going to be like logging on to Netflix tonight to find that movie. But did you hear the line? He said, yeah, I don't know why I'm doing this walk, but I'm going to let the walk give me the answer. And I think that's at the heart of being a pilgrim of hope. We don't always know why we're called to walk certain paths or what we'll discover along the way, but I think if we remain open to God, open to others, open to Spirit, then the walk itself will indeed give us the answers. So today, as we gather here at NATSICC as pilgrims of hope, next slide please, I don't think it's going to click through, thank you. Let us recognise the longing that has brought us together, the call to truth and justice and the flourishing of our communities. Let us honour the courage of the departure you've all taken, the steps that it has taken you to get here, and the wisdom that we will gather from the paths of others. As pilgrims, we walk with our hearts open to hope, a hope that is not passive, but revolutionary. It calls us to act and to speak and to stand for what is right. and to keep moving even when the way is hard. It's a hope that refuses to accept injustice and insists on truth-telling and nurtures reconciliation and renewal. As we take each step here, through our conversations, our learning and our connection, I want you to know that you are part of the pilgrimage that will shape this church, shape our communities and our world. And when we leave this place, be inspired to continue walking together, to carry the sacred flame of hope in every act and in every word and in every choice that we make. Because real hope, like real pilgrimage, is not about reaching a destination. It's about the courage and the care and the love that we bring to every step along the way. Let's let this walk at NATSICC 2025 give us the answers we are seeking as pilgrims of revolutionary hope.